people reload. It says it's live. Okay, we are live. Can people see and hear us?
So a priest, a rabbi, and a... Never mind.
If this works, I'm going to be really surprised and shocked, but...
Yeah,
so a Templar and a dragon walk into a bar, and one goes to the other. You didn't see it either, did you?
Did you? So, I'm hoping they can see us.
What's the YouTube link?
I have the YouTube link. Let's see here.
I have 2 monitors, so this is easy for me.
Well, no, I mean, if you go to theaiepodcast.com, it should be live there.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I'm hoping works, because I know the YouTube link will work, but people can't chat on the YouTube page.
Well, they can. It's just horrible, horrible.
Oh, can see now. Ladies and gentlemen, Gomez does not know how to do the whole front end of the site. I do all of the back end stuff. So ignore or close the old window, or just don't play that window. Yeah, I have no idea. Let me see if I can delete the old podcasts, because it looks like there are a bunch here, which I'm not sure why there are, like, several. Okay, people can see and hear. That's good enough for me. I'm not doing the normal intro because it's just me, folks. Zod is not feeling well, and I don't really know where Ludra is. So I'm going to try to struggle through this on my own. Well, I mean, I have these 2 fine gentlemen here, so it's not completely on my own, but more on my own than I would perhaps like. See here, so that's live. I can close this window. Okay, you can... No, not... Will live. Yeah, you're darn tootin', you will. Okay. I need... Oh, wow, I should probably actually record the show, so let's get Logic up and running. Well, people are going to get really bored of me reading the news, so this will be an interesting show. So recruiting
3 different people.
we can help out.
That's true. I guess you guys do have access to the... Okay, so yeah, podcast 194.
I don't know. I'm more interested in you doing 3 different voices.
Yeah, that won't get old at all in any way. Let's see, where am I recording this? Desktop podcast stuff.
On this episode of the AIE Podcast, tries to fix...
Yeah, that's basically, I'm not doing an intro where I have to say 3 different things. That's not going to work. So, soundboard, so I can play the things. Don't use that. No, we cannot yes hear you. Duris, you're not helping. I'm gonna go out there and... Okay, I guess we can get this started. We're already running late. Let me start recording. We are now recording, and people can see and hear us. Okay. In 5, I suppose I should have the video window. Okay, 5, 4, 3. On this episode of the AIE Podcast, Gomez tries to figure out how to do things on his own and doesn't do all that well. Also, we have Rado and Grimbane here to talk about the secret world. All of that coming up right now.
Bringing you the latest news from the AIE gaming community from planet Earth and beyond. This is the AIE Podcast.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the AIE Podcast, episode 194, the Die Has Been Podcast, broadcasting from beautiful Northern California on my own. I'm crying, cuddled in a ball in the corner. This is Gomez. Hey, party people. We have 2 fine guests with us. We'll be getting to them a little bit later in the show. I have been patiently waiting for WildStar to come out. It's coming out this weekend. I'm actually having a LAN party that I'm having my significant other and 3 friends come over, and they're all bringing their PCs, and we're all going to play like all day Saturday. So that that will be, I think that'll be a fun time. I'm hoping the server will be up, because it's launch and it's the pre-release, so we'll see what's going on there. So Zada's not feeling well. I have not heard from Ludra. I'm assuming she's still on secret assignment. So I'm kind of just gonna muddle through this on my own, because wow, there's a lot of things that I don't do for the podcast. All of the things on the front end are the things. So with that, I think we should probably get into introducing our two guests here. We have both Radozato and Grimbane here to talk about the secret world. Radozato, what's been going on with you since the last time we chatted?
I've been playing a whole bunch of War of Omens, and I won a contest on there. They had a name the fourth faction that was part of their Kickstarter, which is announced to be the Endazu. But if you ever go to their forums and where they list the who won, you'll see my name there and the name I suggested in the second prize listing. But been playing and enjoying that game. Tried some WildStar with the initial set for the open beta. And I got real sick earlier this week. But
I dealt with that 2 weekends ago, and my significant other Mooley just got over. It started in his throat and just moved up into his sinuses, and it has finally, I think, worked its way out. But yeah, that was not a good time for him this weekend. So yeah, I think there's stuff going around nationwide.
Yeah. Well, my one friend was sitting there saying at least when we were chatting about symptoms, because he evidently had a similar thing. It's it's like weird zombie plague or something like that.
Great.
It's oh man, please no.
Yeah, that's not really that's not really what you want. Okay, cool. So Grim, what has been going on with you since the last time we chatted?
Well, I've been playing their Elder Scrolls game a lot.
Oh yes.
And I've been accidentally missing a lot of Secret World events.
Oh, well, you will probably be admonished by Pyramidion. All hail Pyramidion. But yeah.
Accidentally on purpose.
Well, the last one wasn't my fault, but besides Elder Scrolls, where I finally got past 50 on my main, I've been playing a lot of Watch Dogs the past 2 days.
Oh yes, I have heard that is good. It is very pretty, I have heard.
I'm roughly 9 hours into it. And
wow, okay.
I probably have it done, but maybe 20% of the story.
Okay.
I'm driving around doing the multiplayer a lot.
And you
what?
Yeah, you said it was certainly an interesting, you actually get warped into someone else's game.
Yeah, you could do this thing which is called an online hack. You basically prompts you to go to this person. It teleports you to their location where they're playing the game, and then suddenly this big purple square or circle goes around them, and they know somebody's there. So you got to kind of just sneak up on them, and then you hold the X button to access their phone.
Nice.
And then you're uploading a backdoor into their phone, and you have so much time before you can get away from them a little ways, and then you activate the back door, and they have to find you. And basically, what I'll usually do is I'll sit in a car in the middle of a traffic jam, and they have to hunt.
That sounds fun.
It's intense because you see them running around using their phone to scan all the people walking around in the car as they're trying to find them. Once they find you, you have to evade, and then it turns into a street race while you're...
Wow, nice. Okay, so we will get into the secret world in a little while here, but first we're going to go into this week's news.
AIE News.
The AIE in EVE Online game will be holding a Hunt Ourselves a Lank Theris event. Tomorrow night, our fearless leader will be flying around QETZ TAC W, and while we all love Lank, they have set aside 100 million ISK bounty to, on his head. I think a lot of people are going to be gunning for Lank that evening, so how can you not pass that up? A warning has been issued. Lank will most likely be shooting back. So if you're playing EVE Online and you've always wanted to, like, if you haven't been able to stab him with a spy in TF2, here's a way that you can blow him up and get some money for it. So thank you to Lotwook for sending us an update about AIE Nomads. They're finishing up out their stay in Star Trek Online with a Fleet Marks run, which means they're running around earning marks to help complete guild projects. Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern, that will be Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern. This Wednesday, June 4th at 9 p.m. Eastern, so 9 p.m. Eastern seems to be a theme, they're power leveling alts in Diablo 3. They're talking an average of 1 level per minute up to level 35 or 40. So if you want to blast up through the Diablo levels, this seems like a good way. This is done via the highest level of Torment, which gives 16 times experience and a level 70 in the group. It sounds exploity, but it's well within Blizzard's design, and after level 40, the leveling curve very steeply goes up. So you're not nearly getting the benefit you were before. So starting June 6th, they start the roam into Guild Wars 2. As a note, this is not a free-to-play game. This is, I believe, the first game that Nomads went into that is not free-to-play. But it is a buy once, and you don't have to sub from that point forward. You can. I believe you get additional stuff and additional rewards, but it is not something you have to sub to continue to play. So it might be an option if you're looking for something to do. So in AIE WildStar. No, I can't do that. So a server has been chosen for AIE WildStar's Head Start this weekend. For those who will be playing said game as it launches, look for AIE on the Storm Talon PvE server Exile side. The director and one of his officers, that'd be Cav and Duras next week, are going to be on the show, but the launch happens sooner than that. So we're going to be getting them on. Basically, hopefully we'll be talking about how well the launch went and how well things are going, how AIE is already happening. So all of that stuff. But keep an eye on the forums for more information as things develop. Also, the wiki has been updated. There'll be a link in the show notes. That WildStar has information how to get in the guild. So if you're looking for that sort of thing, there is information which is current. Duras just gave me the URL before we started here, and so AIE is all about social gaming. Whether we're playing MMOs, board games around a table, console gaming, really anything. Sometimes you might just want to sit around, grab some popcorn, and watch someone play a game that you know. So Duras set up a thread where if people are streaming, they can list who they are and a link to their Twitch stream. There seems to be a lot of services that do this. Twitch seems to be the most popular one. So it's a cool thread if you're looking, and they usually describe what sort of things they're streaming. And so you can check that out if you're interested in that sort of thing. So this is not specifically an AIE thing, and normally we don't like to talk up too many Kickstarters because we don't want to do this become a place where people just get sick of us hearing, like, shilling products, but we're making an exception for this one. So most people in AIE, I'm sure, have either watched Reading Rainbow or have kids that do or did. LeVar Burton and company are bringing it back, and they need your help. The drive is going great thus far, but we want to see how high this can go, bringing services to many, many schools in need. So the Kickstarter, which was for $1 million, funded in less than 13 hours. And I think they were completely overwhelmed. Like, they did not expect this sort of reaction. But it's now at $2.5 or nearly $2.5 million. The stretch goals are basically they're going to be providing a year subscription to the thing that they're setting up for a year for more schools, the more subscriptions they get. So, or the more stretch goals they do. So I think it's a great fundraiser. This is one of the first altruistic Kickstarters I've heard about because, yes, they're going to be doing this for a living, but it's Reading Rainbow. It isn't something that they're going to be, like lining their pockets with. They're actually trying to do good. So I felt that it was appropriate to mention this Kickstarter. And yeah, Grimbane's a backer. I am a backer as well. So this is something that, I think is a great cause, and I'm willing to trumpet this. So with that, I realize I very much rushed through this, but without an interplay or without my co-host here, I definitely want to get into the game that we're talking about this week is the Secret World. So Radozato, I see a little redacted here. What's going on here with this particular game this week?
Well, as many of you are well aware, you'll need to be part of the 26th degree to have full access of information within the Illuminati. However, within the game, people can only reach up to the 13th rank, which was still acceptable. But just like Agent Sky's birth records, everything's redacted. So that's it for the show. See ya.
And yeah, I mean, he redacted our show notes, folks. So that's we're dealing with some great stuff here.
Please, he redacted Zod and Aludra.
But the biggest news, unfortunately, because the original plan was based on the developers' letter at the beginning of this month, where they said Tokyo is finally coming out in May, and on I think it was Monday, a thread started in the Secret World forums, on the Funcom site, going, so is it coming out this week? And it's like, and they're like, unfortunately, it's not coming out.
Oh.
And there's a lot of disappointment, and they said that there's a particular reason why. They haven't said why exactly it's being delayed. Well, but aside from, I think they said that they're going to explain why it got delayed in the upcoming game developers.
Okay. Well, when you actually said it's not coming out, I was like, oh, is it just not coming out, or it's just not coming out in May?
Yeah, just not in May.
Because I mean, that would be really unfortunate if it just was not coming out at all.
This thing has been eagerly anticipated by the community for so long. It's getting close to 2 years now. But pretty much this upcoming week we'll have the game developers letter for the month in review, and they should be explaining it there. In addition, I believe it was today or yesterday, I haven't double checked the exact date of it, but the first quarter financial report came out and they gave some information about what's going on. Now, a lot of it personally, it's like, I don't know what these acronyms mean.
EBITDA? Are they EBITDA positive?
Something. But there are some parts it's like, okay, I can understand what this is. These are good things. These are bad things. These are good but not as good. These are bad but not as horrible. But there's some things you can pick out of it. But generally, some interesting information that we found out was through a screenshot that they shared through there was that at least a pair of outfits that will be showing up in Tokyo, which was the screenshot showed like a male schoolboy uniform, where it's like that black suitish looking thing, where it's got the suit jacket kind of deal. If you've watched a lot of anime, you've probably seen it. And then there's the sailor girl suit kind of deal for the female version. So it's like, okay, there's going to be the anime style school uniforms.
Okay.
I can't speak to what actual ones are. I could probably just go tap my brother who's recently come back from Japan, but that's a little extra for what I need. But what else? I lost my place. Also, they did mention that there is they gave a lot of information about the upcoming Lego minifig game. Pretty much their the plans and how it's going to be released, how it's progressing along, and and their projections on that. But in general, Secret World is cash flow positive, so the game is making money. From what I believe, if I read this correctly, I can totally have this wrong.
And you're not a lawyer or accountant, so
yeah, I am not. Okay. It is cash flow positive. I think their total reserves are larger than it was last year, but the rate of their growth has declined. My assumption is because there's been a massive slowdown in brand new content, and so when a game hasn't had an update, your doldrums sit in and people start wandering off to other things. Plus, there's been other games coming out, Elder Scrolls, WildStar, a whole bunch of other games, grabbing people's attention. But my expectation, as soon as Tokyo actually does come out, a lot of people are going to come running right in. So,
well, I mean,
we are hungry for this content.
It's the equivalent of an expansion. It is. Oh, look, new shiny content with new crazy things.
Well,
That will always draw people back in.
Yeah, Tokyo as a region is going to be the largest expansion since the launch. So
wow.
Like this is the equivalent of Burning Crusade for Secret World if you're comparing it like World of Warcraft.
Wow, that's crazy.
So, but we have had some content. I'm going to turn over to Grimbane to give a quick discussion. Some of this may sound familiar if you've listened to previous episodes, but Grimbane's going to cover what has been going on since last we've been, on the show.
Well, we've had the Whispering Tide for a few months now. It's basically the filth is creeping into Agartha.
Oh. That seems bad.
Yeah, and over the past few months now, it's come in stages. And the first stage was sort of a resource dump where you used all your resources you've gathered to basically fuel the portal so you can open it, go in, fight the bad guys. That's it in layman's terms. Well, we did that 3 times, and then the 4th time, I believe, we opened the big raid to fight Flappy. The giant 40-man raid bad guy.
Does Johnny Feisty know about this?
Do you ever think that Flappy tells him anything? I mean, he didn't even tell Johnny about the BlizzCon
That's
ticket.
true. BlizzCon tickets, right? Yeah, that's very true. But I just think it's amusing. It's like, oh, Flappy. That's probably not the actual name of the thing, but it's just amusing that
In fact, I think if we did tell Johnny Feisty, he might not care too much. He'll go, just as well.
Yeah, go ahead and just, don't kill him too hardly. Because, you can kill on various degrees. But please continue.
Well, basically what has happened this entire month has been basically, last month we fought Flappy. This month, the filth is making one last ditch effort, and all the previous portals that we've closed have reopened gradually throughout the past month. So we're basically redoing that content. And then I don't know if Flappy's up again yet, is he?
He is up, but what originally happened was, and this caused a massive upset, was that when the redo happened, the Flappy raid got locked again. The community got rather upset because to actually get to Flappy initially, there was a lot of investment of time and resources to get there. So soon after the massive outcry, they reopened Flappy for the entirety of the whole thing. But like right now, Flappy should be available like on his regular every 3-hour intervals. In fact, I think in about 5 more minutes, the current cycle ends as we're broadcasting live, and then it's the downtime cooldown for the next 2 hours and 2 3/4 of an hour.
Yeah. So it's basically it's replay events, give everybody a chance to go into the areas and get the lore for the the completionists who didn't get to do it the first time, and to basically just get all the achievements. But it was supposed to be the lead up for Tokyo, which theoretically should have been this week. But
yeah, by the schedule of the Whispering Tide redo event this week, Tokyo would have come back, would have been released. So it's kind of a week of the and anticlimactic.
Whoa!
As I punch my microphone, sorry about that.
But yeah, Whispering Tide still going strong. People still do it because it's relatively new content for somebody. We did the crap out of it as a group there for a while. And let's see. Do you want to talk about the Tokyo a little bit, Brad Ozato?
Well, we do know a bit about it. Anyone who is a subscriber can have access to the test live server. It's been a massive combat change in one passive ability that's got a lot of people in an uproar, primarily because everyone has glyphed up their gear a particular way built around what's the most optimal passive abilities in the decks. Well, this one particular passive, it it's not exactly working how it should be working, and so it's making an unintended additional effect that's not exactly supposed to be doing. But how they're fixing it, in air quotes, makes it so horrible that it's like, okay, there's no point using this ability anymore, and it completely just drops out a particular weapon set in the game, and pretty much makes one thing no longer the top DPS threat, and at least for leech healers, their top way to be able to heal, the most efficiently and effectively, to now different groups being the top one. But it's not exactly okay, now this group is doing the same damage. It's like now they are the top by default, and it's markedly less damage, output, threat, and so forth. And so there's been a lot of outcry and outlash about that. I'm not sure what exactly they're going to do, because again, it's still the beta. That might be what the delay is they're trying to come up with a better solution. I hope that'd be good. But that is one of the things there. The Aegis system is going to be part of the Tokyo launch. The next auxiliary weapon will not be in the initial release of Tokyo, but the following chapter after the what should be coming out in June will have the next auxiliary weapon. Still don't know what it is, but
okay. That's what I was going to ask, because the auxiliary weapons have been pretty cool thus far, right? I mean, like rocket launcher, flamethrower. I mean, they're sort of heavy damage, like, make a huge impact sort of thing. So they've done interesting things, certainly.
Oh, they've shored up a bit, they've shored up or reinforced what different roles do, or broaden your options. And for some people, it's an extra impair, which is like on a massive budget, being able to interrupt boss abilities, or additional mitigation, so you can have other, for tanking, or additional healing for healers, or even DPS being able to heal, or DPS being able to fit a better rotation to maximize their damage for their consumers by factoring in auxiliary weapons. So it's like there's a lot of min-maxing because of auxiliary weapons. My assumption and my guess on what it's going to be is, at least this is what I do, is it's going to be something Japanese related, since Tokyo's out, it's the new hotness, it's the cool thing. I'm sure they've already planned what all 9 total auxiliary weapons are going to be. My guess right now is maybe like a magic no mask would be pretty neat, but I don't know, it could be anything.
I still want a voodoo doll.
That would be pretty fun too.
See, this is my fan fiction for an auxiliary weapon. It's a voodoo doll. At the beginning of a boss fight, say you tie your voodoo doll to the tank. If the tank dies, he gets an extra 10 seconds at half health. So he is alive 10 extra seconds after he dies, technically.
Okay.
So, if something accidentally happens and you're like, oh crap, tank just died, suddenly he's got half health, and you got 10 more seconds to kill that boss before he dies for real. Yeah. Fan fiction.
It would be an interesting thing, and I think Grimbane's proposal seems to match closer to what Funcom has said, what their stated stance on how combat's supposed to be. But they've wanted combat to be a bit unforgiving, where it's like if you slip up and your character dies in a boss encounter, that's it. There's no second chance unless you wipe and restart. Which you can say that's an admirable stance, but the other hand is like there is a level of frustration as you're trying to learn the encounter. It's like I can see both ways.
Oh, certainly. Well, and also it's you get to stand in the circle of fun after you have died, and you get to watch everyone else fighting the boss, but you can't leave the little circle. But I spent quite a bit of time in there.
That would be something good that I think World of Warcraft could add in. Like, say, for example, you're dead. Well, granted, when you're dead, you're there with your corpse. But with the Secret World and the Circle of Shame, there's a camera button you can click, and you can change whose perspective you're locked to and following. So you can actually watching the fight. So, say, for example, it's like, oh, you died, but it's like you're not excluded. It's not like World of Warcraft where if you don't release, you well, in World of Warcraft, you're released and you have to run back. In Secret World, you don't have to release it, but you're still dead at your corpse. You can watch from that perspective, but there's a timer before you auto-release. But when you go for the camera option at the animal well. You can actually change your whose focus perspective on it. I mean, you can actually watch what's still going on, so that even if you're out, you can still go, okay, so what exact you can watch and see what's going on, so you can still learn instead of just going, oh, I derped, I have no idea what's going on. I'm not.
Oh yeah, you can still learn the mechanics of the fight. Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
And I have to ask. So I know you guys have both been playing this game for a really long time, pretty much since launch. So I noticed that you have AP and SP like flashing on the corner of the screen, which would drive me insane. Do you have all the abilities, and those are just you're banking them for the next expansion?
Almost. For that, it's SP is your skill points for unlocking the potential of everything. I have all the things I can spend SP on, so it's like this is the cap, just like when the previous cap was around. So that's just how it is. You learn to deal with it. As for the AP, your ability points, I've got everything in the main wheel learned. I've got everything that's current in the auxiliary wheel learned. And then what I don't have all the way maxed out, unfortunately, is the augment system. But that one takes a bit of luck, grinding, money, and getting particular currency drops so you can attune better augments that heighten and shore up the different abilities that you have.
Oh, okay.
So, like
Yes.
the example of the current deck I've got now, people are watching. I have like a healing augment over one of my builder abilities. If I move this away, you can see where the ability was. It has like a red portion and a green portion.
Oh, okay. Matching the.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what kind of augments you can stick in that slot. So you can't just go, oh, I'm going to stick all my tank and stuff on everything. It's like you actually have to have tanking-related abilities to put tanking-related augments in there. So there's a heightened, it did change a couple of the theory crafting for decks, but not by too terribly much, because it's still all right, what's your best thing, within these abilities, what's the best augments, or you go, if I want to include these augments, what's the best abilities? And it's kind of one of those two directions is where you go. Mainly people lean towards I have this deck, what's the best augments to support that, since that's the better performance and output.
And for those watching, or if you're not watching at home, looking at Radosato's screen makes me want to play Simon. Because it's got the one quadrant is red, one is yellow, one is blue, one is green, which I believe was the old school Simon games.
I'm fairly sure those were the four colors of Simon. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's the exact placement, but it's like those were the.
But it was just it's funny that it's this thing in the center of the screen, and it's so. But yeah, that was very amusing.
But we have learned other stuff about what's coming up in Tokyo. They had a big article over on the site earlier this month. Again, back when it was like everything's on schedule.
Yeah.
But they gave us information about some of the key people we're going to meet in the questing for Tokyo. I'm assuming a lot of these people are the quest givers. So it's like we'll talk with them and they'll tell us a bit of what's going on and continuing on with that. Some of the people, the most interesting person to me is someone named Sarah. Everyone who's played the game at the very beginning, you have this weird flashback where you're in the subway in Tokyo.
Oh yes, the very start of the game.
But everyone's, the signature the three signature faction people who are there, they're interacting with you, but it's not you. It's you're there at you're inhabiting someone else's perspective. We finally get to learn whose perspective it is. It's a lady named. It's a lady named Sarah, and she's actually the protege of Arturo, who is like the elderly signature character who's been showing up during the Flappy Raid, who talks to everyone. He's kind of right now within the Secret World, he is like the truly neutral factioned guy. But he's like, I think if there was a faction, he is like full on, empowered by the bees, maybe, I'm not sure. But he is like a neutral party where it's like I'm above and beyond whatever the secret societies are. I care not what they do because I serve a higher good order and power. I'm assuming Gaia.
So, but that's actually a little disturbing, because if he's powered by the bees and the stuff is now creeping into where the bees are, that seems bad.
As for where the bees are, I don't think they're actually from Agartha.
Oh, okay.
I don't recall exactly where they've said the origin of the bees are, but it is known, at least through, I'm assuming that's what the other two factions, I haven't gone as far. Grimbane can probably at least confirm this with the Dragon and Templars, but with the Illuminati, they are well aware, and at least with the Last Train to Cairo chain, you find out that there has been research on people who have been empowered by the bees. So like people are aware of the bees and some of the weirdness and powers of them, but they haven't pinned down exactly where they're from or why they're from.
Okay.
So,
Quick correction, though. Sarah is the protege of Arturo, who is from the Council of Venice.
Well, his last name is Castiglione, so yes, I would assume that he would be part of the Council of Venice.
Not necessarily, because there are some Venetians who are not, have different surnames and from other nationalities, but the Venetians are also kind of the old toothless wolves. It's like, they want to have order and good and peace, but they're
they want to be their order. They want to be their order.
Yeah. But some other people who are like more specific to the area, because like Sarah got heightened abilities because she was there at the incident at the subway, and she got buried by all the stuff there, and it like unlocked a whole bunch of extra power. But some other people from the region there's a woman named Gozen who is the latest in an ancient family line that has been protecting Japan from the demonic and supernatural threats. Effectively, if you've watched the anime or played the game series Sakura Taisen or Sakura Wars, she's like that, where it's like she's defending the region minus the steam-powered mech suits, unless she totally gets a mech suit, which awesome.
I could totally see that happening in this game.
I was so happy if it's like, yes, someone has a mech, because you have to. But like it's this very she's I would say like very traditional samurai kind of at least that's how they describe the characters, like very traditional stoic samurai, or technically samurai ko is who she is, but or like paladin, lawful good paladin kind of person.
Right. Well, it's either a mech or an Eva, or name any number of other things that have been.
Look at her. She looks awesome. I got a picture of her pulled up here.
Oh yeah. But next person is a Oni called Inbeda, and he was banished and exiled from the demon society in that region. So it's like, you are not allowed here. You've brought great dishonor to our order. So they kicked him out. He's in exile, and so he started up a mercenary and bodyguard company out in Japan. And he kind of wants revenge on the people who ousted him. It's like, you guys were jerks, so I hate you. And he kind of collects a whole bunch of different knickknacks and things. He loves his bling. But he is, bottom line, what he does is for profit. He's got to fund what he's trying to do.
Certainly.
But he's got, he's a Oni or demon with a vendetta that's been festering for over 300 years.
Because, when you're eternal or live a very long time, you have very long grudges. That's what happens.
Okay, the next person they go over is Daimon Kyoto, who is the head of the occult branch of the Yakuza. So it's like, not only am I the Mafia, but I'm like the magic part of the Mafia. It's like, oh!
Great.
But like one of the interesting things they mentioned that he's got a magic pachinko machine that like he runs it, and it helps like divine stuff for him. So you can tell like, where something's going to happen and things like that. Well, evidently this thing has caught the attention of the dragon, but also he's very well aware that the dragon's got his he's got the attention of the dragon. He's also watching them, because it's like, this is mine. I don't know if they have intentions of stealing it, but it's like, this is his thing, and he's using it to, keep order and, do his job, dealing with the supernatural in his turf. So that's the stuff going on with him. And then the final person they introduced, which is the most interesting. This is what I would say. This is what happens to a red shirt when they actually survive the horrible thing.
You mean this is Guy?
Something like that, yeah. But his name is Kurt Buster Kuskazak, I think is how it's pronounced.
Sounds
Although
right.
that could be
Yeah.
Czechoslovakian or Czech Republic, and might not be
Mhm.
pronounced at all that way. So.
I am guessing, so that's, I'm a bit familiar with certain languages, but I am not going to claim I'm an expert, not going to pronounce everything. It's like,
go with Buster.
my educated guess is this is how you say it, but I
Right.
could be totally wrong.
But Buster is easier.
Yeah, Buster's his handle. So Buster, on the other hand, not to be confused with the Mythbusters mascot, though he might be, he's an Orochi Corps tank pilot. He was transferred over to the Japan division. I'm assuming because Japan is where the headquarters of the Orochi Corporation is. So he was probably getting like, you're a distinguished person, you're high rank within this, we're gonna give you a nice cush job here at HQ because nothing happens here.
Actually, you're actually right. The third zone in Tokyo is actually the Orochi Tower, which is the Orochi headquarters.
Yeah. But it's
So-
like,
Oops, the incident in the subway. Sorry about that.
yeah, but he was, since he was transferred there beforehand, he was one of the first responders from the Orochi Corporation who was there. He is also the last uncorrupted member who was sent out there, and he is bat crazy in his tank. Like,
Okay,
as they describe it,
great.
he's like, poking his head out of the top of the tank like this paranoid gopher, shooting his pistol at any, things that are real and imaginary. Maybe not imaginary, but we don't know. He's
Yeah,
kinda
maybe
nuts.
he can see them and you can't. That doesn't mean they're not there.
Yeah. Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you.
Exactly.
Evidently, we're going to be interacting with him quite a bit. But this is what happens when the red shirt doesn't die instantly. So, but if you want to learn more about it, we will be including a link in the notes, in the show notes, so that people can read the more expanded versions of what I've read.
Okay, sounds good. And so AIE is currently, it looks like they've sort of plateaued in progression. What's been going on there?
Part of it, again, other shiny things out there going on. New games coming out, everything out there. You got like weird people named Crimson Bane, like who'll just dance there and scare everyone away. But
Dancing next to Dijin like it's nothing. He's just
like it's nothing.
Standing there.
But there's other games. Like we said before, there's been a massive lull in brand new content. There was a set of side investigations called side missions and stories, which was incredibly fun and well worth everyone's time. Like, people should try these out. They were awesome, well crafted adventures. One of them was incredibly frustrating, at least trying to solve it. But like me, Grimbane, and Mominatrix, like one week during a general progression night, we just sat down. It's like, all right, we're gonna play this investigation mission because it's like, okay, who's done what, who hasn't done anything. It's like, all right, this is the one none of us has touched. We're just gonna brainstorm, not do a walkthrough. It's like, we're gonna brainstorm and figure this out. And we spent all night doing the one mission, but it was pretty, at least for me, it was pretty fun.
Oh yeah, well I mean at that point it's you're doing a collaborative, because I mean the only board games I play anymore are the cooperative ones. And so that's basically the same thing. You're working together to solve a problem. And investigation missions are the thing that no other MMO have replicated thus far.
This weekend, me and like 6 of my friends, maybe 7, are going to play Eldritch Horror.
Yes.
No.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, no, that's a good game. Is Eldritch Horror? Yeah, that's the worldwide one, correct?
Yes.
The one. So I am now, I believe, 2 of 11 playing that game. Like we've gotten to the point that's like, oh, if we had 2 more turns, we would win. But nope, we lose. So yeah, no, I know how that goes.
Yeah, Pandemic is a similar way.
Yes.
But as far as progression, we've kind of plateaued a bit. Like, there was a lot of times where it's like, we have the raw people who are progressed enough, geared enough to start doing some of the stuff. It's just that we've never actually had like 10 people often there working on it. Like, we've actually walked in and worked on both the New York City raid and the Lair raid boss. So like, as full, nothing but Alea Yacta S, members just in there working on this content. However, there is another similar themed community who's been that we've been in contact with and interacting with, called In Vino Veritas, I believe it is.
Yes, that is an awesome name.
Yeah. Which, for those who are unaware, it roughly the raw translation is in wine truth, or it's roughly the expression means that in wine, or getting in being drunk, the truth usually comes out. The expression shows up in many other societies and languages and expressions, but it's effectively that when you get someone drunk and they start talking, they start rattling off the truth more often than lies. Now, they might be embellishing it, but the truth tends to come out. But similar to like Alea Yacta Est is another Latin phrase.
Yes,
but it's if you guys have been listening to previous podcasts, you might have heard in the news, a member named Dot Warner has been inviting us to participate in some of the stuff that they've been doing, because they've got established runs that they do for all of this stuff. They have a sign-up policy. A lot of the stuff does favor people in their community. Of course, they're the ones hosting it and offering it.
Oh,
but
yeah,
they've offered the olive branch of the, hey, if we have no problem letting other people in and participating. Be aware of their raid rules, follow their policies. They're great, friendly people, and things have been working out pretty good. A lot of people who have interacted with them on participating on the raids that they solicit, they've gone through, found out some of the finer. Some fine-tuned tips about how to do certain things, fine-tuned certain builds, worked on their gear a little better. So it's like a lot of people have come back on, hey, here's some awesome things going on here. Coming back on like, hey, everyone, here's something to get excited about. So we've had a nice, friendly relationship with this community. So if anyone is wanting to learn how to, again, properly and politely interact with this other, friendly community, go to the Secret World section in our forums for, pretty much, here's the primer of how to, interact with our, fellow community members.
Okay, sounds good. Is there anything else you guys wanted to mention before we wrap this up here? Yes? No?
Elder Scrolls and Secret World are awesome.
Yeah? No, So that's our show for this evening. I want to thank both Radozato and Grimbane for joining us. So Radozato, you are at Radozato on Twitter, correct?
That is correct.
And
also, you can find the blog that I write for, though I think they're still finishing up a hiatus because the main people who curate and run the site are finishing up dealing with a move from one area of the Seattle region to another. I don't know the particulars about it, but I do know there was a disagreement with the apartment owners of the previous place. So it's like, well, we're not liking things here, and there's evidently a mass exodus from that place, which,
oof, that sounds ugly.
Good for some, bad for others, but it's like, so they got out to a different place, but it's like there was a bit of a hiatus needed to be done to, get that move out of the way. But also, people should probably look out for after Nerdtacular. I will be like last year. I'll run a series of here's the games I played during Nerdtacular in review.
Oh, nice.
On the site acrosstheboard.net.
Okay. And Grimbane, you are at Sundry Photos, which is SUNDRY Photos, and at it looks like sundrycreations.net.
Yep, that's my portfolio.
Okay, so next week we will be talking to Cav, who is the leader of WildStar, and Duras about the newest game going through the AIE GURP process, WildStar. Stay tuned. We've got a great ride of AIE member segments coming right up, including Ask Miss Mulgra, Buxley's Journal, Epic Diapers, and much lesser-known Shaw's. If you need to reach us, we can be emailed at podcast@aie-guild.org. Our Twitter handle is at AIE Podcast. I am at Show Not Found, and my cohorts are at Accusod and at Aludra_AIE. We record live with video every Thursday. I apologize if the site was a bit of a mess tonight. At 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. You can join the chat room and play along with us or watch one of our past shows on our website at theaiepodcast.com. Our theme was composed by the amazing Andrew Allen. Follow him at Keys with Soul or visit his website at keyswithsoul.com. So, until next time, AIE, this is Gomez, and this has been the AIE Podcast. Oof. Okay, I made it. So we need a show title. We need a show title. So, guests, if you can observe the chat, if you're in the chat. Thank you, Kazric. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Oh, no. I think that's the show title.
No. Gomez is going to veto that as the show title, as I will be posting the name of the show. Oh, man. Yeah, my laptop, I have 8 gigs of memory on my laptop. I have 89 megabytes free currently right now. So I cannot launch anything else on my computer or it might crash. So that I can actually quit Logic. That will free up some memory at least. But wow, that was close.
Gomez needs a drink. There you go.
There will be no mention of Gomez in the show title. That is going to be my rule. Will the Tokyo make me look fat? That actually is pretty amusing. But it's totally up to you guys. It doesn't matter to me one way or another.
But we're not getting blood elves in Tokyo, though we are getting schoolgirl outfits. So isn't that the same?
6 of one, half dozen the other. Oh yeah, there's not that many people in the chat room. So show title redacted. Have we done that yet?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Actually, that's what I named our raid group. Redacted.
So I will totally. Does that work for you guys? That I will just have bracket redacted.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Well, that's what I literally typed in because on the notes, all it is it's just a black highlight over the black text that just says bracket redacted.
Right. Okay, so we will give Lotwood. We will give Lotwood credit for that show title because that's a pretty good one. So, kudos to Lotwood for the show title. Okay. I thank you, everyone. I'm going to take us off the air. So thank you, chat room, for joining us. I apologize if things were a bit of a mess. I will get Eluders out to clean it up next week. So, I hope to see you next week, folks. Thanks.